everybody! Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed Ryan's offset. That was really, really amazing artwork on there. I was really enjoying that. Ooh. RB, Uma, Josie, Wade, Oliver, thank you so much for popping in. And I saw your question. How many frames to animate a rain? No, please. Although, you could probably do that in about 4 frames, I'm thinking, because then we can use smears and all that wonderful goodness, which is absolutely coming up, but not today. We've got a special extra stream. So I thought, let us go and take a look at what we've done before, use a little bit of the things that we've done in Animation 101, some of the little things we've done in Animation 201, and look at making a simple animation. Sounds good, right? But this time we don't have any what's, because we're not necessarily learning something new, we're just using our skills to practice. Rainimation? I mean, we could probably try that. That doesn't sound like a bad idea, but we should probably do something where we can turn the shape into an object and then make it repeat, so we don't have to do that many. There's an easier way to do it than what I'm saying. But if you've got Adobe Animate, this is your call to action to open your program so we can get started. Devlin! Sounds great! Hamza! Alrighty, so what we're going to be doing today is something like this. I'll turn off these effects for now. There we go. Is it looping? We'll find out. It is! Wonderful! Okay, so this animation was made by first using a guideline. So we'll be making a guideline in Adobe Animate. We don't have to outsource it to another program or anything like that. We'll be able to go straight to it and then build upon our earlier or original sketches. So we're still keeping it simple, but still being able to carry across the animation or the idea of movement without having to do too much. Alrighty. So if you've got your Adobe Animate open, when you open it up, we don't have any files. We're going to start this from the top. When you go to File, New, you'll be greeted with this pop-up window. We'll go for what's there, although I tend to go by 800 by 800, and we'll take 24 frames per second for this one. But fun fact, in the UK, we actually use 25 frames per second, but it's really... it's difficult to divide it because as we go along, we tend to divide or multiply things in terms of 4s or 2s. 2s, 4s, and such and such and such. But 25! Kind of need like a calculator all the time for that. Minnie, welcome on in. I hope you're ready to learn some animation. One thing that I found, which is really, really useful before we go in, is that if you're animating 2D or 3D, ironically, or maybe it makes a lot of sense, the foundations for animation is always the same. So regardless of what system you're using, or if you're doing it in 3D or 2D, the same rules tend to apply. Okie doke. So we've got our file, we're ready to go. We've already got a layer here, but I'm gonna call this perspective, or persp for short. We're going to simulate like a floor, that way we can decide where our little character or object bounces to. I know you lot said rain, but if you have another suggestion of a shape, lay it on me. Otherwise, we'll go for Mr. Keyframe. But I'll take any shape. We'll see if we can make it move. So we've got our perspective here. We are first going to go to Dock, and we'll click Apply to Pasteboard. So when you first open it up, you normally are greeted by a little white box which shows you where you're working, and then your outer grey box so you can see, oh, this isn't included in the animation. But if you do want it to spread over, head over to Dock in the top right and turn on Apply to Pasteboard. You can also change the color of the background too if white's a little bit too strong, but I'm gonna go for it. Hi Silver, welcome. Ready for animation things? Let's go for the positive vibes. Yeah. So I've been working on a frame by frame intro, which will be ready for the next stream, which is next week, Monday, where we're learning anticipation and smear frames. That'll be awesome. Just going to say howdy. Oh, I hope it's going well, Silver. Alrighty. So we've got that, we've got our guideline. I'm gonna go over to the toolbar, click the line tool, and I think I'll go for a blue this time. And I'm just gonna click and drag. That's not blue. Let's try again. On the right underneath tool, it actually gives us our color as well. Since it wants to take it from there, we'll follow along. I think I want to increase my size of the line. So I'm just going to change it to 8. Seems good enough. We're going to lower the opacity afterwards to make it a little bit easy for us to see what's happening. Uma, not the eyes. All right, so we've got our line, and I think I'm going to spread it out like this. So we've sort of got an idea of, oh, there's a floor and it's expanding outward. I'm not really a perspective person, but I think we can get the gist. Okay, so we've got these. Wait, Minnie, did you say star as in a star for me to draw? We could do a star. If that's what you want, we could do one. We'll make a star jump. That'd be really cool. Okay, so we've got our guides or our perspective box. We're going to double click on the little note looking thing here, and we'll go down to opacity. We'll see if 50 works. Let's click OK. It's all right, but if we do want to turn it down later, we'll just double click on the note again, go over to opacity, and maybe select 40 this time, or whatever floats your boat. We're going to make another layer now. And let's call this rough, or you could call it sketch. Doesn't really matter what you call it. As long as it makes sense to you, then that's perfect. All right, so we've got our rough now. Oh, a star shape. Sorry, Minnie. Okay, we'll do a star shape. So now I've got my rough. You'll notice that this little keyframe isn't actually highlit at the moment. That's because there's nothing in it. So let's make sure it's selected. Maybe we'll go and pick a color. It doesn't really matter what it is. I think I'll go for this kind of purpley one. And we'll press B for our brush. Don't forget that you can click the open and close brackets to change the size by a shortcut, but you can always go over to the right-hand side. The star, thank you, Wade. I did forget what one looked like. Like, how many prongs does the star have? Can it be an extra star? Like, I want to have an extra star. Okay, let's change it to 20. Let's give us a shot with that. Not bad. Might be a little bit too strong because we just want the guidelines initially. Let's turn it to 15. And what we're going to do is draw a rough version of whatever it is. So if you were drawing a bunny, you could draw a rough shape of a bunny. Or if it was a plant pot for some reason, you could draw a rough shape of a plant pot. It doesn't have to be too exact, but because mine is a star, I'm gonna go for 10, I think. And I will draw my star starting from here. Okay, we've got a star. I was absolutely looking at the chat for the picture of the star. Sometimes I get it in the wrong place. I don't know how. Doesn't need to look perfect, by the way. It's just a rough. Okay, so we've got where it's going to start. We want it to jump 3 times. So let's say it starts here and I want it to end up here. So let's draw a star. It could be anywhere. I'm going to draw it over here for now. So it ends up here somehow. It's got a funky leg. Lovely. And we'll have it go to the front. It's always fun to play around with the perspectives. So we've got it in the front. A visual aid. Thank you, Wade. I need all the aid I can get. There we go. So we've got the 1, the 2, and the 3. Of course, if you want to make it a little bit more elaborate, or if you want to make a mini obstacle course, you can totally do that. But we're going to do it pose to pose, which means we're going to take each one of these. So I'm going to draw a 1, a 2, and a 3. So we're going to go from 1, somehow end up in number 2, somehow end up in number 3, and 3 will somehow end up back to number 1, which will allow us to loop this. So I've got my rough and my perspective, but they're only 1 frame long. If we do drag the timeline, it will disappear. Oh, well, she says that, but it's not moving because I guess it realized that I don't have anything else. So I'm going to make 1 more layer and I'm going to drag it to the top. This is going to be our actual star layer, or whatever you'd like to call it. So we've got our star. I need these to be a little bit longer because an animation cannot just be on 1 frame. We need the illusion of movement, and that only happens by several frames. So let me click the rough and the perspective, and we are going to click F5 on our keyboard. Or if you like, you can use your shortcuts. If you don't have these hotkeys, by the way, on your timeline bar, click the 3 lines and go over to customize timeline tools. You're able to turn on your insert keyframe, blank keyframe, and your insert frame. All of them are very different. Somehow I think you know how, well, if we click F5 or if we just click insert frame, that's going to drag our frames out. Now our perspective and our rough don't need to move, but they're there to help us out a little bit. If we press the enter button on the keyboard, we'll see it go from start to finish. Nice, not bad. I'm gonna hold control and press plus just so I can get a little bit closer. You might find that the outside box showing all of your excess pieces is unnecessary, or it can be a little bit too cluttered. If that is the case, in the top right, click on this little box here. This will close out the other side so you can't see it temporarily, but it's really good for leaving random notes for yourself. It's like the cutting room floor. Okay. So I'm going to leave mine on for a little bit because if, let's say, I want to do something on a certain frame and I forget what the frame is, we can actually name and layer the frames. But if I just write it on one of these sides, regardless of where I move the timeline, it's always going to stay on the side. So it's a really helpful visual aid. All right, so I'm going with 15 for now. We're going back to our star layer and I'm actually going to click this little circle dot, because it makes it a little bit easier for you to focus on what you're doing. And if you're somebody like me whose eyesight is not that good, it's really helpful to know exactly where you need to work and where you're going. So I've got my star layer. Let me grab a suitable color. I'm probably going to pick Mr. Keyframe's color, I think. And let me up this a little bit, maybe to 30. Now, if you found that while you're working and you zoom in and your brush changes sizes, it just means that you've got zoom with stage turned off, which you may want. Could be good for some stuff, but I tend to keep it ticked on. That way it stays the same size regardless of where I go. I think maybe we could pick a brighter color. I say brighter, but I'm not really sure if that's brighter there. Okay, lovely. We'll go with this one. Something mustardy. Yes. Okay. So in our first frame, I'm going to just lower this actually. 50 could be okay. Nope, 50 is okay. We'll put it back to 50. Cool. Back on our star layer, if you think, by the way, that you're going to draw on something else, just go ahead and lock the layers. It will actually ask you if you really want to draw on those layers, which is super handy. So I'm on my first frame of the star, and I'm just going to draw a shape of a star. My brush is way too big, so let's just pull this in a little bit. Proxy! Welcome in, Proxy. I hope you're doing well today. I wonder if you got any rain. It randomly rained for about 5 minutes and then it stopped. That is England for you. So I'm semi-tracing, but of course the rough that we made is just that, a rough. Doesn't need to look perfect. This bit can technically be the rough part too, but I tend to keep this as the main shape. It's lovely to see you too. Now we've got an empty shape at the moment, and I do like to fill them in for the time being. So to do that, we'll just press the K button. K for bucket, because I guess there's a K in there somewhere. There we go. So we've got one star. I'm going to drag this out for about 4 frames. So we'll click on our first frame and we'll click on the insert frame, or just press it 5 times. Wait, 4 times. Wait, 3 times? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Na 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 na. And then we've got nothing. So we need a new frame for the next one. The only reason why we're not drawing it all on this one, which I suppose you could, and then you could copy and paste it and stick it to the next one, but it tends to happen when you're not too aware of the frame that you're on. It's happened to me quite a lot lately, so You had a good nap? I am jealous, Uma. How long was the nap? So instead of us talking about food, it's naps now? So we want to make a new frame. Let's make a blank one. To do that, that's F7, or you can click the Insert Blank keyframe. I'm going to be mentioning a lot of the shortcuts because animation is incredibly long, and it's even longer if you have to keep going and moving your mouse to click on the little keys over here. So as you're going and you're doing really, really long, extensive pieces, you're going to be relying on the shortcuts a lot more because you'll realize something that might have taken you maybe only 1 hour might take you an hour and a half. So we're trying to minimize the time it takes for us to do something in a nice, easy workflow. It was too hard? Oh, really? After years? Oh, Uma. Okay. What were you working on? I'm automatically trying to save my work. It's a good habit. If you ever see the save window pop up, it's just I've managed to automatically put it in my head that I'm supposed to save after like a certain amount of time. All right, so we've made a blank keyframe. I'm just going to zoom into my timeline so you can actually see what I'm doing a little bit better here. There we go. So let's make our next one. I think I'm going to change its angle a little bit. Thinking about how it would be if it dropped. Oops. Now, it is a little bit like Photoshop in the sense that if you don't let go of your brush while you're drawing and you do make a mistake and you undo it, it will undo the whole thing. So maybe try to take your pen off the pen tablet every once in a while. And a good tip that my sister taught me and that I've been learning in a lot of places while I've been going through my Adobe Animate journey is draw from your elbow. Don't draw from your wrist. Draw from your elbow. The only reason why is sometimes you'll have a really big shape and your wrist can only move so far, but your elbow can do so much while still keeping it like a nice straight line. It was, what? How hot was it? I'm curious. All right, so we've done our second star. I'm gonna press K for the paint bucket, fill it in. And we'll extend that 5 frames. That's F5, or 4 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be 10, right? Good. And then we'll do it again. We'll insert a blank keyframe, or F7. And we can totally just spread this out here now, actually. You can do it before or after. It doesn't really matter too much. The length of the timeline shows how long that particular image is staying on for. Eventually, we're going to end up splitting it when we add the in-betweens. So this is our last one. My star is showing off in the middle. Yeah, you are. Here's a good star. Here's center stage. You are. Okay, so we've got the star. Oh, there's also one more thing I'd like to note. I don't know if it's dependent on the settings that you have, but Adobe Animate will sometimes auto-save while you're working, which is good because you do want it to save. It's the worst if you've been drawing for a long time and it's not saved your work, and then you realize that you closed it and apparently you didn't keep anything behind. That's the worst shock, the worst shock. But sometimes it will autosave while you're in the middle of a brush stroke. And if it does, it will erase your brush stroke. So just be aware. It may happen. You just need to redraw it again. Cool. So I feel like I could tidy this up a little bit. So I'm going to press Q, or I could go up to the free transform tool. And this is the perk of Adobe Animate having some of the Photoshop-y kind of tools. We can absolutely tweak it on the fly without really having to redraw it too much. Okay, so if we were to press play, which is enter, or you can totally click this button over here, we see the star goes from boom, 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 boom. I think I want it to go back here. So let's do that one more time. We'll move to the right-hand side, the last frame. Let's click F7 to make a new blank. Oh, hold on. Because we did it on all of them, it made a blank for all of them, including our rough and our perspective, which we don't want. We just need to extend the other two. So why don't we grab these two and click F5 or insert frame. There we go, all the way to 20 since we're apparently doing it in 5s. And I'll go up to the top frame and click F7. Susan, welcome on in, lovely. Hope you're having a lovely day. We're just going over a way to do pose-to-pose animation or make a really simple animation in Adobe Animate, which is really, really nice for giving you that inspiration to realize, hold on, I can do this. It's like, yeah, you can. And it's pretty much always like this, but multiplied. Right, so we've got this one. I'm going to hit my F5 or insert blank keyframe. I'm looking for it. There we go. And I want it to go back to the front one. Now we could totally draw the first one again, but we don't really have to. We could just copy the first frame. So let me copy the first frame. We'll right click, go over to copy frames, and we'll paste. Don't worry, Susan. You don't need to get your mind in gear for me asking you lot what the shortcuts are. That'll be next Monday. Hooray! Our Dora the Explorer moment. So now if we press enter, it will go from 1, 2, and 3 and end up back at the start. Now, if we do want this to loop, which might be helpful when we're trying to watch it back, because you tend to need to watch it back multiple times just to see if it's doing what you want it to do, we can go over to Control, click Loop Playback, and now it will go through all of them. Sometimes it may have one of your images selected, so just go to your transform or your selection tool, give a little click on the side, and then you're back. Oop, it's me trying to save my work again. Save it after each thing, please. Save your work. Save your work. Don't be like me right now. Save your work. Okay, there we go. We got 1, 2, 3. Great! But we're not actually seeing how it gets from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 back to 1. So let's have a little bit of fun. And the jumping is useful for this one. I feel like it's a really good way, because if you wanted to make your own little obstacle course, like I was saying beforehand, you really can with this, and you'll be able to get them to jump from one to the other. You know what? I'm actually going to save it, because when I click it, it will save rather than bringing up the window. Okay. It will save this time. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do want to move your indicator without actually touching it, it's the greater than and the less than keys on your keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to go halfway. This is useful for smears that we'll be talking about next week, Monday as well. But you have your keyframes, which are the main poses. And then you've got your in-betweens. And the in-between is just the frame that's in between the keyframes. And then you do more in-betweens and more in-betweens and more in-betweens, and then it becomes really smooth movement, or pretty much or really fast movement, whatever movement you really want. But we're gonna go halfway in between this, pretty much just eyeballing it here. And I'm gonna click F7. Or if you're not using the shortcuts, that is insert blank keyframe. Now we can't see where it came from or where it's going, so we're going to turn on our onion skin. We've got our blue and our green now, so this will tell me where it's been. If I drag the green bar over, it will tell me where it's going. But I don't need to see all of those, I just need to see the next one directly in line. So we've got this one here. I could lower this a little bit more, actually. This is a little bit too strong now. There we go. So I've got this one, and it's going to that one. What I might do, just to help us out a little bit more, if visualizing the arcs, which is in where they're going to go, is a little bit tricky, we can actually go back to our rough. I'm just going to hide this one for now. We can go back to our rough, slap on another color, and make sure your layer's unlocked. Or if you try to draw on it while it's locked, it will ask you, and it will allow you to do it from there, which is really, really nice. We can just add a little bar saying, okay, you're going to go from there to there. That's kind of, you know what? Let's go for that. So we're going to go from there to there, from here to here, and then here, back here. So now I've got an arc for how I should sort of jump. We can totally ignore it. Maybe we need to tweak it a little bit later, but for now we're going to see if we can abide by it. Let's turn the eye back on. We'll lock our rough layer. Make sure the correct color is selected. And we're not going to worry about the anticipation, which is the down before the up. We're just going to do the next main exaggerated pose, which is probably already in the air. I think maybe the star coming, let's see. The star jumping from this way, I think. So I've got this. And if something's jumping, it's kind of stretched. I guess we can have its arms go up. Oh, that'd be kind of cute. I feel like we need to give the star eyes now. Okay, so the arms are going up. Is that right? Yeah, arms go up, legs go down. Let's try to get it somewhere close to where it was before. I was wondering, what's that thing sticking out of the head? Yeah, that's the top of the star, Pixie. Okay. They've kind of made it a proper character now. We're working with the perspectives that we've got. Okay. So now, if we go back and forth, kind of looks like the star is literally doing a starfish, jumping, goes to the other one, and we're going to do that again between 2 and 3, and then between 3 and 1. So at the moment, we're just doing the already jumping one, not necessarily coming down. So let's go between 2 and 3. Let's do our insert blank, and we'll do the same again. It's pretty much the same position, but from a different perspective. I found that even when you are doing the solid shape, because like I haven't done a rough here, you can actually temporarily draw something that's going to be filled in. So now I've got a little bit of a skeleton body, and I can work from this, which is totally going to be covered up once I paint on it. At the moment though, I think I want the legs to be a little bit, there we go. E is your eraser, by the way. A little bit, I think most of the shortcuts are the same as Photoshop. Wait, jump with a roll tack? Oh my gosh. I mean, okay. We can try this. I think we're gonna have to change the arc. We have to have it come up here and then go down, roll there. Oh my gosh! Okay, let's see if we can do that then. All right, so we've got the jump here. The main thing that you might need to do often is tweak the size. At the moment, this size doesn't really correlate to the size that it's coming from. Otherwise, you end up with animations that your character is constantly changing size. So be aware of the size, try to keep it consistent. Great. So at the moment, we've kind of got a 2-frame thing going on. We can cut down the other ones and make them 2 frames as well. I do like doing it. This is called twos. If you weren't in our last session, hold on a second. Oh yes, we're going back. Oops, make sure that you don't have too many things selected. Otherwise it will just make them all blank. That's not what we want. All right, so you're going back. Jumping from here, leg, leg. My little starfish. Oh, that's a tiny starfish, but that's okay. We can fix it in post. This is such an interesting looking shape. I don't think this looks like a starfish anymore, but maybe it will be fine. Maybe it will be fine. We're going with hope now. We're going with hope because a star is not the shape that I thought I would be offered today. But here we are. We can totally add on features after this, you know, but we'll do something really, really simple for now. Okay, so star, gonna use my Q tool, make it a little bit bigger. I can tell that's nowhere near the same size, even though it's gonna get smaller on the way out, but it's not smaller yet. Okay, we've got this and then it goes back. So let's push enter. Oh, okay, it says, oh, A. Right, we've got the AA, but we need to do a little bit more. It will all be fine. Right, we've got it jumping. But we need more frames. It does show it moving, but we need just a little bit more. So if we've got it going, let's have it coming back. Now, we were suggested a tuck roll. So let me go back to my rough. And I'm actually gonna give myself some more lines. Let me erase this. Let me erase some of this. Hi, Jaden. You weren't able to find the stream on the channel. Oh no! I'm so glad that you managed to make it. I'm so sorry. I tried to do my best to make sure we could find everything. Okay, it's going to be a steep drop, so we might have to move this earlier one. So let's say we go, we hit the deck, and then we roll over here. Okay. Cool. I'm going to go back to my top star. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. So it's going to be a high jump. Now we need the next bit that's going to take us down a little bit. Or I could have it already in a ball. Should be kind of funny. But we're not going to do it yet. We're going to do it by 2. So this is already a 2. So let's make sure this is a 2 first. And then we're going to click F7 again, or insert blank keyframe. Jaden, I hope you're doing well. It's lovely to see you lot again, by the way. It's been a long time. Okay, so I've got this, this one, and then I need it to come down a little bit. Oh, you know we always love your presence. It's always nice to see the Pixie Posse in all areas. Okay, so we've got this one. We need to see it coming down now. So on the way down, its arms will probably still be up, but stretched in the other direction. So I'm gonna have a little boo. It's like when you're down on a slide. The legs are pointing down, the arms are up. It's like, ew. And then we've got this, the head's too small. We've got this. It's a proper person now. A star is literally a person. Minnie, thank you for giving me the star. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Might have to take away the yellow, by the way. If your initial roughs colors are kind of interfering with your vision, you can always go back, select them, and change the color. Ah, dang. Okay. Ooh, okay. We got this. We need to do the same on this side now. So we've got it coming down, but we have to ignore the roll for now. We're doing it in sequences. Otherwise, we'll end up getting so caught on a mini part that when you're taking a look at the whole picture, it will feel like you haven't really done as much as you really have. You've done so much, but we're doing it incrementally. So we've done one bit. We need to go between these two. We'll do an F5 to spread it out a little bit, F7. And we'll make it come down here. Same, get the skeleton going, just so you know where everything is. We've got our arm. We're probably gonna have to make this bigger afterwards. I do like the idea of like the little twinkle toes. There we are. We'll press K for our paint bucket. And then on this one, why don't we do that backflip that I did before? Let's spread this out a little bit. F5. We're going to make the bottom ones a little bit longer too. And we'll do that F7 once more. Now, what I learned when I was doing the backflip with Mr. Keyframe was all of these shapes, you don't really think about what they look like when they're bent over or anything. So start off with the skeleton of it first, and then it will help you give an idea or like an image to what kind of position it could be in for your mind's eye. Because once you color it in, it still might look a bit weird, but it will make sense to you until you add everything else on. So we've got this. We could add arms there. It's in an awkward position. We're probably gonna have to move it closer. Just gonna hold Q, click and drag a bunch, but these two are selecting, so I'm just gonna turn off my onion skin for a second. It's totally okay if you need to turn it off, or if you need to see it in a different way, you can go to advanced settings and make it be outlines only. Eventually, when you have a lot of stuff on screen, you might want to go for that. Stars are great. Yes, Minnie. Just thinking about, what does it look like? What does it look like when it's bent over? I don't know. But it's sort of shaped like a person. So if we go with this, if we added on some features like eyes, this would really help us right about now. So maybe we will at the very end. There we go. Let's move this over a little bit. And let's give that a play. See what it looks like. Ooh! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, hey. Okay. So far, so good. He's thinking of a rolling star constantly. Uma! I haven't done anything rolling like that. So this is going to be really interesting. We've got our bits already. And just from those initial 3 drawings, it's already starting to look like something. We could totally leave it here. Hi, PJ. It's always lovely to see you too, PJ. So we've got this one, and this one, but we're gonna make more in-betweens. All the in-betweens have an in-between, and the in-betweens have an in-between. So from here to here, I want an in-between. So let us click on our first frame. Yes, Jaden. Hey, hey, hey. And we'll just click this twice. We're doing it by 2s, because later on we'll be able to pick, do we want it to hold for longer? Do we want it to move slower? All this and that. But 2 allows you to see it moving at a good general speed, of which you could totally leave it at. But instead of trying to work out, oh, I want this to move really fast, so I'm gonna put it on 1 straight away. Maybe you might not want it on 1s. Maybe you might not want it. You can totally extend it afterwards, but if it's all even, you'll find your system with this. Okay, so we're saving it. I need something between these 2. So it's pretty much this, but lower down. So let's have another one. Let's say we won't have the bend. We'll have the bend at the very end. So we're just gonna spring, because we're springy, yeah. This is the head. The arms won't be fully up because they're fully up in the other one. PJ, I hope you're ready to take in some more animation tips and tricks. There's anticipation and stuff that we're actually going to be doing next week with a gavel, because we're lawyers now. Objection. But not yet. This is a fun little, you know what? We can animate anything. We really can. Just a few simple guides. Something really simple. So we got this. To there. To down. Ah, now we get to do the roll. Okay, let me turn off this so I can tell what's happening. We got way, and then whoa. And now I need something between here and here to do the roll. So we can make the roll a little bit more exuberant later, but let's get the initial bit first. So I'm gonna spread it out by 2. We know we're doing the 2s by now. I'm gonna turn on this again, and the roll is there. Just gonna leave it as a ball, I think. There, ends up here. How could something... Ah, it'll probably do a back flip up. Okay, yep. So we've got a roll, and then from here, I think we could probably add one in between these 2. So, double tap, we need a middle. Turn on our onion skin again, and I need something to sort of show this to this. So the head might be in a similar place. The arms can't fully be up. Remember, we're doing an in-between, so the in-between should be like a half image as well. If you were to film yourself and you paused it halfway between doing something, that's what we're looking for. So the legs are kind of closing, but they can't be fully closed yet. And I do want it to look like its body's bending over a little bit. This is good. And I mean, we could press Q. Woo! We could press Q. Let me lock down the rough so that doesn't happen. And move our anchor tool and just rotate this a little bit. Oop. The way that it snapped made it seem like it cracked its back. It could just be me, but I heard a crack. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a turn. The lower body's turned. Yeah, that might work. And we're going to press K again. If you find that you can't paint, it just means that the shape is open. So we're just going to have to close the shape a little bit. We'll do another 2, and we need to do one between... We could do one between these 2. Let's play it for a second and see what we've got. Extend this a little bit more. See about this rolling star. That's cute! But we've actually got to get the ball to roll. Bum, bum. You know what I'm going to do? For this last frame, let's have it squash a little bit to react to falling at the end. So we've got this. We want that between these 2. So I think I'll take this keyframe instead and extend this one over. So instead of making a new keyframe or making an insert blank, we're just going to take what's there and kind of squish it down a little bit. So I'm going to press F6 instead, or insert keyframe. That way it makes a duplicate of what we've already done. So I'm going to go back to this one and I am just going to squash it. And I'm probably going to move its arms up too, because if it's just fallen, its arms are probably still kind of high. Okay, let's take a look at that. You're working and lurking? Oh, ooh, PJ, I saw that message that you said. That's really good. I feel like I know the app you might be using. Oh, look at that. Ooh, pow. Now, the only problem that I can see with this is that it squashes in height, but it doesn't actually move down necessarily. So it looks kind of odd to me. So I'm just going to go back to this one, put the anchor at the bottom and squish it down a little bit more. Ah, there we go. Boo! 1, 2, boo! 1, 2, boo! Okay, it's really cute, isn't it? We should add eyes before the end. Okay, we got ba 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 ba. Way. Cool. So we can add some more keyframes. If we want, we can add one between these 2. It depends on what kind of animation style you're going for. This could totally work as it is. But in places like these, we've got to add a little bit more. So I'm going to put another section. It's getting ready for the jump. Oh, with this bit here. Oh. To be fair, if we added a little preparation beforehand, we really should. But we're not going to. But you should. Unless that's not the kind of animation you're making. All right, we're doing another F7. We need some sort of transition between these 2. We're making our own Luma. Oh my gosh, we are. Wait, does Luma have eyes? Yeah, Luma's got eyes. We can do it. I don't remember what they look like. We can do it. Okay, so we need something between these 2. It's kind of fun. Once you get the hang of it and realizing that it's just, okay, how does it go from there to there? And then you do it again. How does it go from this one to this one? And then maybe you've got these 2 and they're really close. You're like, okay, how does it go from here to here? You keep doing that all the time and then it looks like it's moving. Oh no, it was landing. Oh, well, you know, we could do it the other way. I think I'm going to have it. Wait, so probably half bend over. So let's say it's hit the floor. Boom, boom. So halfway over. Its head would be there. Kind of loses some digits in the middle of this. Some of these shapes are hard to get. But we'll also go through turning some of these off of 2s into 1s. I want it to kind of lean over, but it's kind of tricky because we're doing straight block colors. Move the arms. I don't think you get an arm there. Do you get an arm here? I don't think you do. I'm gonna have to add extra colors. Or to be fair, when we add the eyes, it'll probably help. Okay, so let's say it's like that. Wait, no, because if it's there, it would be more like this, right? Yeah, it would be more like this, so you wouldn't even see its other arm. You wouldn't see its other arm at all. Okay, because stars are the best. Yeah, they are. Okay, so we got this, but it kind of looks strange without something, so I feel like I need to add like an arm. I feel like I need to add an arm. I'm gonna add like a gap, because otherwise it's hard to tell. I don't like the gap. I don't like the gap. Okay. We can get away with this. We can totally get away with this. We're going to do something that I've actually learned recently, which I've been using in a lot of stuff. Ignore what we've just done. We're going to use smears. So this means that this is going to be a 1 second frame that we'll do later. It's going to look weird for now. But a smear is basically half of this picture and half of this picture. So instead of being completely copied over it, it's going to be halfway on both of them. It's going to look really weird for the time being, but it will make sense after, I promise you. Okay, it looks strange. Don't worry about it. Because it all starts on my right. Yes! I can't find my fan, but yeah. Okay, I've only got big fan. Yeah, it's not the same. All right, here. Okay, so this doesn't look right, but it will. It will. We can even make that a little bit closer, I think. Pull it from there. Give us a sort of similar shape to it, but our eye is going to do the work for us because I could not work out the perspective. I couldn't work out the perspective, so we're just going to do this. Yeah. So that's going to be our smear. We've got a roll. We could totally do another smear here. So let's move this over a little bit. Add another. Before we add another smear, I think maybe we should have the ball roll a little bit. Smears are really good for if you don't know what it's supposed to look like and you need help. Just put a smear in. We're going to do that again. And I'm just going to put a smear between these two. If in doubt, smear it out. Hey! Wade, do you have like your own shop of catchphrases? Because if you don't, you need a shop for catchphrases and for sass. All right, so we've got this. We've got that. And it's going to be half of these. There we go. Looks kind of strange. It will be fine. It will look perfect because we don't know what it's supposed to look like. So it'll be great. So we've got this. It goes there. We've got this. We can totally do smears here and here as well, actually. And let's take a look at what this all looks like. Spread this out a little bit and press the play. By the way, if you press Control and 0, it recenters your frame for you. And for but it's true though. There are no lies detected. Trust me, Uma. So we got, woo! Hey! Hello! 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 Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. You're a star. Okay, star. Look at you. Look at you with the illusion of movement. I kind of want something different there. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. Sassy Shop Inc., please. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome, hun. Star Mountain. I mean, if we drew a mountain, that would be totally cool. So we got Boo Ba Bay. Boo Ba Bay. Oh my gosh, she's really cute. And I'm going to add the eyes. Now, you should add the eyes on another layer. Only because, let's say you wanted to put this in After Effects to composite or to add textures or all that stuff later. It might be tricky to separate all the stuff after it's done. So putting them on a separate layer is good. No. It equals Weird Owl. Oh, I do miss Weird Owl. I'm great, thank you. It's nice to show some of the things that I've been learning recently. Okay, we got our Luma. Here are the eyes. So now I'm going to put on this other eye. We're giving our character a little bit of life. These eyes are probably bigger than they should be. We've got the eye coming around the other end. we can add like a blur of color to pretend like, oh, you know, it's moving so fast. Oh, wow. We don't really need to add anything there, but we can because it will make it look like it's rolling a little bit more. So let's say if it's coming from here, these other eyes won't be that far in. Wait. It has to sort of be coming around from the back. No, does it? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. We don't have time to look. Oh, I'm so glad that you hopped in, Bono. It's a totally an impromptu extra. Oh, no. The only problem with this is that in order for me to show that it's moved, we kind of need the eyes to not be in the same position as they were before. And I'm going to have it look like it comes from the top. With the eyes in the middle, like, hi, it's me. Straight to the jump. Straight to the way down. Straight over here. I could make it blink, but we've chosen not to add that many frames, but you can totally add so much more onto this. And then the eyes go here. And if we're saying that it's done a backflip, we can probably add one more in between this. Then the eyes have to go inside. So the eyes and all these extra things are really helpful. Bruce said, looks like it's playing hop, sketch, wink. Yes, Bruce. I approve of this. Got a little bit of a, then it falls down. And then the eyes. Wait, we need the same eyes as the first one. Let's just copy that again. Copy frames and post. Okay, let's take a look. Hi, Bruce. Rolled in when Ryan's stream ended, but went to grab a bite. Oh, well, thank you for hopping in. Ah, look at this. Okay, so Uma, Minnie, thank you so much for your ideas. Look at our Spawn High. Look at our star. We can turn off the rough now. Oh my gosh, we've got a star. That looks adorable. That rolls. It dive rolls. Thank you, Bruce. Proof in the pudding that we can totally start from just 3 drawings and continue to add a little bit of in-betweens to make it look like a whole thing. And add smears, which we totally didn't really use the way that we could have done. So because we've got a tiny bit of time, I'm going to show you what I mean. Normally on a smear frame, it's only held for 1. So if we hold shift and press enter, I'm going to turn these off so I can tell what it is. It will move faster, so it'll kind of look more like a smear. Because normally, like if you move your hands really fast, you can see the blurred image, but it doesn't hold for that long. When did I start using Animate? Bruce, I started using Animate about 3 or 4 weeks ago. 3 or 4 weeks ago. But the good news is that animation is transferable. Look at that. So we've put our smear frames on, hello. Our smear frames on 1, but it still gives it the impression of movement and even better than, yes, Wade, those emotes for everything. You're here from Instagram? Woohoo! Thank you so much for joining. Wow, impressive. Thank you. The determination was strong. Trust me, I was like, ah! But thankfully, all of the animation skills are transferable. So if you're starting from Animation 101, where we were using After Effects, and you want to come over to Adobe Animate, because that's what we'll be using from now on. Thankfully, all the stuff that you're learning from there is exactly the same over here. It's the same in stop motion animation too. It just looks a little bit differently, but it's in the same way. But yes, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for the stream today. And this was really fun to do. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and stick around because there's some more streams. There's more streams, more things for you to learn. See you lot later. Bye. Don't forget that hashtag Adobe Live. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Don't forget that at Pixipui. That's me. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you, Wade, Bruce, and Anthony, Susan, and the wonderful people that popped in. It's always lovely to see you and have fun while we work and all of that jazz. We love to do a little thing while we work because we're all that the thing. Oh, we love it, yeah. Stick around because the office hours are coming up next. They're coming up next. Spawn, Jade, and Bonnet, thank you for popping in, and Minnie, 2, and Uma for giving me the idols to begin. We're loving it. Stay tuned. The office hours are coming next.